Hi everyone. There are databases with all the items which existed in vanilla listed. I looked through all the daggers, fists and one-handed axes, and as the name suggests, we will be looking over the 29 most unique ones of those weapon classes combined. Starting off with the fists. Arlok and Thikal's grasp both drop in Sul'Gurub. Thikal off of High Priestess Thikal and Arlok off of High Priestess Arlok, both having about 15% drop rate. Having both equipped gives you a small chance, whenever you deal ranged or melee damage, to infuse you with a blessing from the primal gods, and increasing your ranged and melee attack power by 300 for 12 seconds. The blessing also turns you into a whole damn tiger. Due to the weapon's attack speed and stats, they aren't really suited for melee classes. They're simply too fast. Hunter weapons confirmed. If sometimes becoming a huge tiger doesn't make you interested, then you should reconsider your view on the universe. Nothing makes me want to play a hunter more than getting these two weapons. Iron Knuckles. They have a chance on hit effects to pummel a target for 4 damage and interrupt the spell being cast for 5 seconds. That is, if the target is casting a spell, it interrupts the spell and prevents it from being casted again for 5 seconds. They would be a really nice offhand for rogues while fighting casters. They drop off the rare elite Brugal Iron Knuckle in the Stormwind Stockades with a 33% drop rate. These two are the claws of Eskandar, which are pieces of a 4-piece set. The left claw drops off Aeshugas with a 19% drop rate, and the right one drops off Magmadar with also about 19-20% drop rate. Meaning the right ones are a lot easier to obtain. You also need a neck and a cloak to complete the set. If you manage to get all 4, then you get a 1% chance on melee critical hits to summon the spirit of Eskandar for 2 minutes. That's damn neat. However, it will be difficult to gather all pieces. Perhaps an epic journey for some players to partake in. The Herd Smashers have a chance to knock the target silly for 2 seconds, meaning they will walk around in place doing nothing for 2 seconds. If the proc is frequent, this might be a nice offhand to be used as interrupting a spellcaster or such. It chops off the rare elite Guk Bashkud in Blackrock Spire with a 33% drop rate. The Bloody Brass Knuckles aren't special in any way, except it being one of the more well-known fist weapons. It drops off Interrogator Wishes in the graveyard section of Scarlet Monastery with a 90% drop chance. It's always a little interesting and disappointing whenever they drop instead of his level 29 rare quality dagger, the Torturing Poker. As there are so few fist weapons in game, a big chunk of them are just bought off vendors. They're probably the least used weapon type in game, but they do get some kind of redemption, as the arguably most awesome effect in game is the tiger transformation of the fists of Arlox and Thikal. Next up comes the daggers. One dagger, which is actually really sought after, especially by Fury Warriors, is the Fell Striker. With a chance on hit to guarantee the next coming attacks to both land and to deal critical hits. It is very good. It is also an epic weapon you can obtain before stepping into any raid. With the Jed Ren runs being a common thing in UBRS, it is not impossible, only very hard, to obtain this dagger. It has a 1% drop chance of Rend Blackhand. Hookfang Shanker has a chance on hit effect to both apply a dot and an armor reduction for 30 seconds. It also has a fast attack speed of 1.4, making it good for poison applications. It drops off Hedrum the Creeper in LBRS with a 25% drop rate. The Gostrilla Fang is a unique dagger in many ways, partly because it's an uncommon quality weapon with a chance on hit effect, and partly because the chance on hit effect works like a lightning shield. It would be a fun dagger for tanking, especially when fighting many non-elites. Or maybe a shaman would want it for double lightning shields. I don't know if spell power affects the damage done by the shield. It of course drops off Gazrila in Zul'Farrak with a 50% drop rate. Freytalan has a 1 minute chance on hit debuff. That's quite a long time for a chance on hit effect. It decreases the stats of the target by 10. Besides that, the dagger isn't very special. It drops off Kurtanos the Herald in Scholomance with a 10% drop rate. The Blade of Eternal Darkness is a very interesting weapon. Notice that the equip effect procs on spells and not melee hits. It has a chance, whenever landing a damaging spell, to deal 100 channel damage and restore 100 mana. The tooltip also states a 30-second cooldown, however that seems to have been changed quite a lot through the 1.2 to 1.12 patches in vanilla. And what the internal cooldown will be on classic servers, if there will be any at all, can't be told for sure. In vanilla, it didn't seem to proc off dots, but it did proc off Arcane Explosion for example. This is a weapon I would really like to have on a mage or a shaman. I'm not sure if the Flame Tongue bonus damage counts as spell damage or something else. And how about channeled spells? Like Arcane Missiles. There is simply a lot of testing to be done with the weapon. If the proc rate is high enough, and it can proc off the right spells, then maybe new playstyles can be formed around the dagger. Another interesting case would be whether rogue poisons can proc the effect, as poisons as far as I know are counted as instant spells. It drops off Princess in Marodon with a 1% drop rate. If you farm Marodon as a hunter, you will see the dagger drop a couple of times. If you get really lucky and have one drop as you have another in your bag, you sadly won't be able to loot it as it is unique. Also, the name is kinda cool. The Venom Webfang is just a nice dagger for low level rogues. Chance on hit for a 15-second dot. It chops off Venom Web spiders in Duskwood with a 1% drop rate. It might be worth grinding some there in order to find a new dagger. Nyrax's Fang is similar to the previous dagger. An uncommon quality, lower level dagger with a chance on hit dot. It chops off the rare elite Nyraxis in Westfall with a 50% drop rate. She's located here. If you need a dagger offhand for your level 22 Alliance rogue and you're in Westfall, pop by to see if she's there. The Barman's Shanker has a 30-second chance on hit dot. It is also one of the slowest daggers in game with its 2.0 seconds attack speed. Before attack speed normalization, this was a very good weapon for rogues to backstab with. It still is, but not as good as it used to be. It's also one of the 2 weapons in game, as far as I know, to have the model of the broken bottle. It chops off Plugger's Spastring in the Grim Guzzler in Blackrock Depths with an 18% drop rate. Toxic Revenger is a nice dagger. It has a very slow attack speed of 1.9. Its chance on hit effect surrounds the wielder with a cloud of poison, doing damage to everyone within an 8-yard range to the wielder every 5 seconds for 15 seconds. You can move around while this effect is active. It drops off the Vicious Fallout in Nomergun with a 33% drop rate. If this scales with spell power, it might be something for AoEing shamans at higher levels. Searing Blade has a chance on hit to blast the target for 60 fire damage and also add a debuff that increases the damage taken by fire spells by 10 for 30 seconds. I don't know if this debuff will benefit Flame Tongue, but it seems likely that it does. The Searing Needle is a world drop BoE that chops off all kinds of mobs. Skilled Fighting Blade is a creative name for a quest reward dagger. You get it from the Alliance quest Jailbreak in Blackrock Depths. Plus weapon skill is very good, and having this dagger as an offhand to increase your dagger skill and apply poisons with its very fast attack speed could probably be a good idea. Finally, for the daggers, the Alcor's Sunraiser. This bind on equip drop is very sought after due to its fast attack speed. For rage dumping heroic strikes and building threat that way, this is the best dagger in game. The fire resistance makes it nice in Molten Core. The chance on hit effect is very bad in Molten Core. It drops off all kind of max level elite mobs with a very low drop rate. It will probably go for a large sum on the auction house. Next up comes the one-handed axes. That includes main hand and offhand. Riven Spike has a really good chance on hit effect. It also has a really slow speed. The stacking armor debuff makes the weapon worth bringing even into raids. It drops off the rare elite Spirestone Butcher in lower Blackrock Spire with a 50% drop rate. The Annihilator is like the Riven Spike but worse in almost every way. It is a main hand, it has a much faster attack speed, it is crafted with 40 Thorium bars, 12 Arcanite bars, 10 Essence of Undead, and I'm just going to stop listing the mats now. It is very expensive to craft. If you still think it might be worth going after, look it up on the webs. The blacksmith plan for it only drops off one mob in the game, Quartermaster Tigris in lower Blackrock Spire, with a 10% drop rate. You have to clear almost the entire dungeon to get to him. For a tank, however, the fast speed allows for more frequent heroic strike rage dumps, for which the Annihilator would work pretty good. Stalwan's Reaper is one of the few weapons in game to decrease the target stats. The chance on hit effect does this for a minute, which is quite a long for a debuff. It's a bind on equip world drop with a very good speed. I read on some forums suggesting that it was supposed to only drop off the quest mob Stalwan Mistmantle, but since that might make players farm a quest mob for its drops, Blizzard decided to make it BoE off of a bunch of mobs instead. Serpent's Kiss is one of the first rare quality weapons you can find in game, equipable already at level 15. It has a chance on hit effect to apply a minor dot. It drops off the rare elite trigger the Lasher, who might swim around the pool right outside the entrance to the Wailing Caverns. It has a 50% drop chance. Make sure to look for him just before heading inside Wailing Caverns. The Soulbreaker has a chance on hit to make the targets lose health and mana over 30 seconds. Sadly, it does not drain the lost mana and health. It drops off the Unforgiven in Stratholm Lime and mainly makes you sad over the fact that the mask of the Unforgiven did not drop instead. It has a 20% drop rate. Flurry Axe is not only a level 42 epic axe with a nice chance on hit effect, it is also the fastest one-handed axe in game. This axe is very good for Orc Fury warriors who are getting their pre-base gear. Many offhand hits for critting and getting the melee haste buff, and an axe for Orcs racial. It's a world drop and drops about anywhere in the vicinity of level 42. There was a guy named Pimpy McPimp with an especially passionate comment regarding this axe on a forum. Vibroblade is a low-level version of Riven Spike or Annihilator. It's a chance on hit that decreases the armor of the target by 100 for 30 seconds. It only drops off mobs inside Nomergun, with a low drop chance by the way. The Edge of Winter is an uncommon quality axe with an edgy name. It is crafted by a blacksmith with a receipt. You need 10 steel bars, 1 frost oil, 2 elemental water and air, and 2 heavy leather, so not too expensive. It also has a nice glow effect. Shuni's Disarming Tool is a unique offhand axe with a chance on hit to disarm an enemy for 5 seconds. It looks really neat actually. It has the model of a wrench when equipped. The axe is a quest reward from the dungeon quest Gyro Drillmatics Excavationators. Sadly, it is an Alliance only weapon. Blizzard Alliance bias confirmed. Having this axe as a rogue offhand while leveling could be really good if it has a decent proc grade. It is also quite fast, which makes it even better as it will be useful for poison applications. The Digmaster 5000 is another very unique axe. not only due to a nice name, it also has a chance on hit to reduce armor, and you need 175 skill in mining to use it. I also believe it serves as a mining pick. It's actually a rare drop inside Uldaman. Only 5 different types of mob can drop it, and it has between 0.02 to 0.04% drop rate. Well, those were the 29 most interesting fists, daggers and one-handed axes in game. There are of course a lot of other weapon types with very interesting chance on hit effects, but this video is already long enough. I hope you found this interesting and maybe got an idea for a playstyle built around a certain weapon. Like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more.